So today's video is going to be one of the more common questions that I've gotten, and that is people want to know what to expect when it comes to how much exercise do my dogs really need? Like, what is a typical day-to-day routine when it comes to exercise, mental stimulation, that kind of thing? Like, what do they really require day to day? People want to know that. So I'm going to do that video for you guys today. That's the subject. So let's not waste any more time. And I will reveal to you all what it is that I do day to day with my 3 Belgian malinois. So the first potty time of the morning is actually right at 7 a.m. I get up and I let all 3 of my dogs outside to go potty. When they come back in, they do not immediately all get to be out. So what I mean by that is they all get up at 7 a.m. and they all get to go out and have an opportunity to go potty. We come immediately back inside the house where they have an opportunity to get a drink of water. And then that's it. Riot and Fury go immediately back into their crates for another 2 hours. So from 7 to 9, I am out with Storm. She gets 2 hours out completely by herself. And I do this on purpose. I do this because right now Storm is a puppy and she just simply cannot be out around the big dogs all the time, or the energy in the house is just unmanageable. I don't want her learning these habits. I don't want these interactions inside to become part of the behavior that is acceptable in the house. And because Storm is young, I need her seeing me for her main source of interaction and play and all of that. Now, if I just let her out with the big dogs all of the time, they are far more interesting to her than I am, just by nature. And so I would not be able to capture her attention and build that bond and relationship the same way. So her time out with them is very structured, and it is not very often. So Storm is out with me from 7 to 9 a.m. So she's usually super crazy and rambunctious in the mornings when I first let her out of her crate. If I don't get her right into working or doing something to occupy her mind, then she is an absolute terror in the house. She will run and jump on the furniture and crash into the walls and the cupboards and just be crazy. So I actually need to get her mind occupied right away while she's out of the crate. Or it's just craziness. So once our little morning session here is over, she's actually just out with me for a couple hours. And this is good for her in the sense that she's learning how to behave in the household, how to be a good dog around my children, how to interact with my kids, with guests, when someone comes to the door, if the phone rings, if I'm going to vacuum, I mean, you name it. She's got to be able to understand good manners and behavior in the house. And these 2 hours that she's out solo with me in the morning are the perfect opportunity to be working on those manners and fine-tuning those expectations. Your puppy really is learning from you all the time. So these 2 hours that she's out in the morning with me are a great opportunity for me to just kind of teach her the ropes. So now we're moving on to Riot and Fury, and these guys get to come out once Storm has had her time. So these guys pop out of their crates around 9 a.m. and we have some breakfast first, and then we head outside for some exercise. Here they are being pushy at the door, and no, we are not perfect. We're still learning all the time. So I'm just giving her a little spatial pressure to back her up because I hate being crowded at the door. Done. So these sessions typically last about 15 or 20 minutes, honestly. I like to come out and play a little fetch with them. I like to ask for simple obedience, in between throws, that kind of thing, so that they're getting physical exertion along with some mental exertion as well, because you could really truly run these dogs for miles and they're still going to want to go. So physical exercise is not enough for a Belgian Malinois. They really truly need the additional ask of behaviors and mental work. So I might do some things like ask Riot for a heel, right? I might ask him for a between. Okay, front. Abwa. Abwa. Up. Done. Same with Fury, heel. You know, just asking for some behaviors in between your throws. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that on my dogs right now, because they are off leash and we are in a neighborhood here, they do have their e-collars on. I am not using their e-collars during these, informal exercises. This is just for fun. This is for us. This is to build relationship and get them some exercise and that kind of thing. But they do have their e-collars on, even though I'm not using them, just as insurance for recall. There are a lot of people who walk their dogs in my neighborhood. And while my dogs have no issue whatsoever with other dogs, some of the other dogs in the neighborhood are not as well mannered. And I need to have the e-collar on my dog just in case something were to happen. It really just acts as insurance in these situations, but I'm not using it during these sessions at all. Look at your face. Your face. Oh, that's crazy. Enough. Good. So the session, like the one that you just saw, lasts, about 15 or 20 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer than that, depending on if I have the extra time. And I typically do that a minimum of 3 times a day, but on a typical day, I probably get out there maybe 5, maybe 6 times a day. Not all of the sessions last as long. Some of these sessions are much shorter because I just take advantage of a potty time, for example, right? If I'm going to take my dogs outside to go potty, I usually take them together, which means I can just grab the Frisbee or just grab the ball and go do a few throws and ask for some obedience and that kind of thing. And that might just be, 10 or 15 minutes versus 20 or 30. So, this is all very sporadic, but I'm going to do my best to kind of give you like a solid overview as far as my opinion and my personal experience is concerned. So I think that on average, you should expect to spend at least 2 hours a day on physical and mental exercise with a Belgian Malinois. I know that there's going to be people out there that disagree with that because I know that there's people out there who think that a Belgian Malinois requires a lot more than that every day, and I just disagree. Based on my own personal experience, based on friends, many friends that I have that also have Belgian Malinois that are incredibly well trained and well behaved. Some compete in sport, some don't. Some are personal protection dogs like mine, and they're not spending 4 and 5 hours a day with these dogs, working and training and exercising these dogs. That to me is just more of an effort of the people who have Belgian Malinois who don't think that other people should have them. It's more of a gatekeeping. I think it's more of a scare tactic, I think, to keep people and to prevent people from getting Belgian Malinois because, they're just they feel like they're the self-proclaimed gatekeepers of the breed. Look, I get that. I understand that. But I also think that it does a misservice to the breed because people who could genuinely successfully have Belgian Malinois are kind of deterred away from that because most people, myself included, don't have 4 or 5 hours a day to spend with a dog. I do not have that kind of time. And literally, I would go so far as saying 99% of people don't. Nobody has 5 hours a day unless you're doing that as a profession, like you're a professional dog trainer, right? To spend with your, even if you were a professional dog trainer, do you have 5 hours a day to spend with your personal dog training with your personal dog? Probably not. So again, I think that that's a gatekeeping tactic to keep people from purchasing Malinois and bringing Malinois into their homes. And it's something that I staunchly disagree with. So this is my attempt at being transparent with you guys, giving you guys my honest opinion based on my experience with 3 Belgian Malinois. I think 2 hours a day is a great average to shoot for. That's what I try to shoot for every day. Some days I don't get that much time with him, and other days I get more. So, you know, I really just think this is a nice average, you know, that you could expect. So shoot for 2 hours a day, but don't do it in chunks of time. Your Malinois is not going to be happy with a 2-hour training session. That is way too long. That is not fun for the dog, and it's probably not very fun for you either. So though I'm spending or aiming to spend at least 2 hours a day working with my dogs, it's little sessions throughout the day. It's not an hour here and an hour there. It's, you know, 20 or 30 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, maybe a potty break that turns into a 20-minute session, that kind of thing. So, you know, the biggest piece of advice I would like you to leave with from today's video is this. I get a lot of questions from people asking me, how much physical exercise does a Belgian Malinois need? And while the question is a good question, I think that it somehow gets lost in translation, because the truth is that a Belgian Malinois will run and exercise and catch a ball for you until they drop dead on the field. They are going to go. So it's not just about the physical exercise that you can offer your dog. And in fact, in my opinion and in my experience, it's more so about the mental stimulation that these dogs need. Belgian Malinois are incredibly smart. And if you do not keep their mind occupied, you lots of times are going to have a dog on your hands that is naughty. That's going to be interpreted by you as being a bad dog or being a naughty dog and having bad behaviors and that kind of thing. So you really need to be more worried about, can you provide the mental stimulation, the mental exercise that this type of dog needs? It's really not so much about the physical. While that is important, I personally believe that the mental exercise and stimulation is more important than the physical. So make sure that you make that a really high priority, and shoot for 2 hours a day. Again, I do not believe a lot of people out there who are trying to tell people you need to spend 4 or 5 hours exercising your dogs every day. I think that is just a load of crap. You know, and feel free to comment and rip me apart and tell me how wrong I am. But, you know, this is just my experience. This is just me being honest with you. This is full transparency on my behalf. I have been able to have 3 Belgian Malinois successfully incorporated into my family, 2 of which these Malinois are very high drive. 1 is not so much, but still a pretty high energy dog, you know, compared to any other dog. And, you know, I'm not spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day every day on my dogs. I'm just not. And I've been able to manage this successfully. And I think a big part of that is because I ask a lot from my dogs mentally, and not just on the field, but off. I ask a lot from my dogs mentally, especially when it comes to being in the house, having manners and obedience in the house. That's a big ask for them mentally. And so I'm constantly trying to keep my dog's mind occupied. I don't allow a lot of free thinking and free thought necessarily in the house. I'm usually giving them a task. And whether that task is place, whether that task is lay down because I want you to lay by my feet while I finish this email, or whatever it is, lots of times it's not just free time out. I've asked my dog to do something. And so that requires my dog's mind to stay busy because they are completing a task. They're doing something that I've asked them to do. And that, for me, has proven to be a very successful way in incorporating them in my family and having good manners and good behavior inside the home. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you got what you wanted from it. And as always, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. I'm really, really excited for this next year. I've got several videos planned, and they're all videos that you guys have asked for. So I thank you guys very, very much, to all of you who participated when I was asking you guys for what kinds of videos you wanted for the next year of 2021. If any of you are watching this and you have an idea, there's something you want to know, there's a question you think that I would be able to answer, go ahead and drop a comment, and I will try to make sure that we get that video posted this year for you guys. So Happy New Year. Thank you so much for watching our first video of 2021.